channel. We are the Williams. Last time we talked about our tips and tricks to pay off debt faster. And this time we're just going to do a quick Q&A. We have about 8 questions that we want to answer that you all have had since our last video or we had not answered yet. We started off with how many, babe?
Probably about 30 or 40 questions.
Yeah.
But out of those questions, a lot of these have already been answered throughout the other videos that we've already discussed. So
we're down to 8.
Yes, so we are down to 8.
All right, question number 1. How did we remain disciplined?
I would say the biggest thing for us when it came to being disciplined was just knowing what our end goal was and keeping that in mind throughout the process, and really just seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, and then holding each other accountable is really big. So people have said, if you're not a couple, like does the information that we're providing pertain to, you or them? And our answer would be yes, absolutely, because we're trying to make this as relevant as possible. So if you do not have, a spouse or significant other to hold you accountable, you have family members, you have friends. So let them know your goals. If you don't need to be eating out, let them know that and make sure they hold you accountable to that. So that's how we remain disciplined. So number 2, did we seek professional advice?
No, but I guess in a sense we did. So obviously, as I mentioned before, we got some advice from my mentor, which kind of shaped our mindsets and really got us on this journey. And we've also read a few books and listened to podcasts. So I guess you can kind of say those are our professional advice.
Yeah, so when he says we read books, he read books. So like Total Money Makeover was one, and then we have a new book, How Money Works, that was given to us after we paid off debt, but it's definitely really great for us to still have, so we know more about investing and how money works. So we'll drop a link to that. Do you want to add anything about that book?
I think you said it all for the most part, but really it just teaches you, like she said, about investments or certain types of investments and how you can essentially make your money work for you, and just different avenues where you can put your money in and potentially grow.
Yeah, so it's like 120 pages. Adrian said it's a quick read. You can probably finish it in a day. I don't know, but he has been telling me a lot of great information. So that'll be one of my goals to read over the holiday. So
yeah, and like she said, it's an extremely easy book to read. And it breaks it down to the most simplistic terms for anyone, regardless of how well versed you are in finances or money. It really just breaks it down on every level for you.
Yep, so we'll drop the link. Number 3, how to keep your faith with being angry, making sacrifices, and bumps along the way. Anger, we were never angry, so that's one thing. But what about faith, babe, along the way of making sacrifices and paying off debt?
Yeah, again, I think this one goes back to how we stay disciplined, just really knowing what the end goal is and make sure you see the light at the end of the tunnel. And also, I think I've touched on this in some of the other videos, but just celebrating those small wins. Whenever you do pay something off, make sure you celebrate it some way, somehow. Obviously in a more cheaper, financially smart.
Frugal.
Yeah, thank you. See, good to have another half. But a more frugal way to make sure you're saving money while also celebrating yourself.
Yeah, and we definitely had bumps along the way. Like I said, my car, it was paid off before, it messed up. And so then we had to give me a new car. So, that was something that we did not expect. But faith definitely played a really big part of that, having goals. But also, we have not shared that we were tithing. And so tithing along the way and, giving really helps with, you staying active, because it reminds you that you are blessed and that there are others that are not necessarily in your situation. But it also reminds you that God will bless you tenfold or hundredfold, however you want to say it. And so along the way, we had those reminders when we, did not think that we were going to have enough to get towards our debt goal for that month. We were still tithing or giving, and we made that goal, if not that month, then doubled that goal the next. So just remember to have faith along the way and remember your goals and keep your head focused and remain on the path that you've set for yourself. Number 4, did y'all stop contributing to 401k, to your 401k, like Dave Ramsey says?
Initially, I didn't stop contributing to my 401k, but I think probably close to halfway through the process is whenever I did stop contributing. And it was a huge battle for me internally, just deciding on if I wanted to do it, because I was asking my friends and telling my friends about it, and no one thought it was a good idea except for Dave Ramsey, of course. But so in the end, I did end up stopping my contributions, and I think I only did it for maybe 6 to 9, maybe 10 months,
Yeah.
where I just stopped completely.
Yeah, so for me, I wasn't working a job that gave any 401k benefits since I was working on campus. And so when I started working December 2019 or early January 2020, that's when I was introduced to a 401k, or able to, I guess, be eligible for one through work. And so I actually did start contributing. So he stopped and I started, just so that we could go ahead and build that, retirement fund for myself. I gave 6% because my company matched 6%. And so, yeah, that's that with the 401k. Number 5, what was your motive for being debt free? And then what are your next goals? So, we got to talk to a group about this last week on Thursday about our motive. And so our motive was really tied more around our past, how we grew up, what our family circumstance was, and then, what we wanted our future to look like. So, babe, you want to kind of talk about your family situation and how that motivated you?
Yeah. So growing up, I was in a household where my mom took care of everything financially. And, I just really saw her struggling, whether it be to get the bills paid or, just having to pay off some type of debt. And, I saw that struggle, and I realized, I'm not going to allow my family to go through this, and I'm not going to put myself through it. So that's the first thing that really changed my mindset. And then just coming from where I come from, like out in the country in Fayetteville, North Carolina, I didn't really necessarily see too many successful Black families. So when I met Bria, it was actually the first time I saw an abundance of successful Black people or Black families. And so, literally every time we went back to Ohio, which is where her family lives now, I would see a number
like everybody.
Of families. Everybody's living in good houses. Everybody's family is good. It was my first time really seeing all of that. And that was just a big motivating factor for me, because I could see that it was possible for someone that looks like me to truly live that type of lifestyle. So that's one of the 2 biggest things for me.
Yeah, so for me, that was my lifestyle. Like, I always saw successful Black people, but my parents were very adamant on being better than them. And so both of my parents, they did not have any student debt by the age of 40. So my mom didn't have any. My dad paid off his before he turned 40. And so that was really big for me, being able to see that. Now, they do have some debt still. So, like, I wanted to be better than, where they are, and push, further than where they have. And they've done really well for themselves. So, so with that said, it's really cool to have a partner who, wants more than probably what I've imagined for myself. Because I'm not going to say I've settled, but I definitely, have an idea of where I want to be. And so he has probably a vision or that goes kind of further than what I can imagine. So
she wants to be a stay-at-home mom now, as you can tell.
I don't know about that, but maybe at some point. And so it's nice to have that and to be able to look at your past and know where you want to go for your future. And then our next goals. So next steps, Dave Ramsey's baby step number 3, is to have 3 to 6 months of your expenses in your emergency fund. And so that's one step. And then, babe, what else is next for us?
Yeah, so one thing that my previous mentor challenged me with was to have $100,000 of worth of assets by May 2022, I believe is what he said. So for us financially, I would say that is probably the biggest goal that we have in mind right now. So just by the end of 2022, to have $100,000, and 50 of that needs to be liquid. So we have some climbing to do.
Yeah. So hold us accountable, check in, let us, or ask us where we're at so we can let you know. And then number 6, tips on how to minimize credit card debt and how you did it as a couple. So for the first part of the question, I would say that we've already covered it. Check out our tips and tricks video that was before this. So it doesn't necessarily say to minimize credit card debt, but it does talk about how to minimize, or pay off your debt faster. Ooh, excuse me. So definitely check that out. As far as how we did it as a couple, I would say that whenever we got to the portion where we were focusing on paying off our credit card debt, so we, because we focused on one type of debt at a time, that what we decided to do was use the goal that we had originally set for, paying off the car or whatever that debt goal was. We used that to pay off our credit cards, but we split it based off of what we were contributing to it. So to pay off our own credit cards at the same time. So he was paying off his, I was paying off mine at the same time. I would change that in the future to focus just on one credit card at a time, so that, going back to that snowball method, starting with the credit card that had the least and then moving up to the greatest. That way we had little wins along the way, and that would have been really cool to do. But I think at that point we were just like trying to get to the finish line. So that is how we did it as a couple. And let me see, number 7, did you have to increase your income or double up on jobs to make this possible?
Yeah, so I guess technically you can say we did double our income, and that is simply because whenever we started on this journey, Bria was in getting her master's, so she didn't have a full-time job at the time, and I was really the main one just bringing in money. So I would say that would be our quote-unquote doubling our income.
Yeah, but it wasn't like we intentionally went out to double our income or increase our income. So what we did do was, when I was in school, at first, whenever I started school, we did not have the goal to pay off all of our debt by the end of 2020. And so I pulled out a loan my first semester. But once we decided to, go on that journey, what I did then, or what we discussed then, was me finding something on campus that could help me or have a tuition reimbursement or a tuition assistance program linked to it. So I did a work study on campus, and that helped us so much. That actually paid for my tuition, and so that saved us $15,000 right there. That means $15,000 that we could put towards our debt, and so that helped a lot. And then once I graduated, of course, then yes, we did have a 2-household income, I guess, or is that
2-income household?
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Not a 2-household income. It's late, y'all. It's late.
All right, so yeah, what he said. And I guess, just think about how you can save, how you can live within your means. Sometimes it doesn't require you getting another job. Sometimes it requires you
just cutting out stuff that's unnecessary.
And just changing your situation. Challenge yourself of what can change in your situation and how it can help build towards that goal. So that's what I would say for that. And then number 8, the last one. Are you willing to invest in the stock market if you haven't already?
The answer to that is yes. And I actually had to, along our journey, I had to stop contributing to my stock portfolio because obviously we had other goals in mind. So a lot of times I would have conversations with my boys. It was like, yeah, I'm about to buy this at this price. I'm about to buy this. And, I'm just sitting there watching all of this happen. I'm like, give me a few more months. So one thing that we're definitely going to do once we do have our 3 to 6 months stacked up, stocks are definitely going to be in that $100,000 worth of assets that I mentioned before.
Yeah. So also, we're looking at other ways to invest outside of stocks, and stocks is totally his thing. I don't know too much about it, but we're looking at getting a rental property. So starting off with a small house that we can live in, that'll be our first home. And then from there, renting it out when we're ready, or if we move from this area, renting it out then. And that kind of starting our real estate portfolio, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. So definitely looking for other ways to invest. If you have anything except Forex, please
don't slide in our DMs for Forex. We are good on that.
Please let us know. So we are definitely open to hearing, you know, your tips and your tricks. And then if you have any questions after this video, please let us know. We will answer them in 2021 and get back to you. What you got to say about the book?
Check it out.
Yeah.
Don't be a sucker.
So we'll drop that again. So have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, be safe. If you get to stay with family, please make sure that you're social distancing. If you don't, call them, Zoom them in. I think that's a thing. So yeah, we hope you have a Happy New Year and we will see you then.